Assalamu alaikum and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Planet FM 87.6, and I am your host, Rafi Malik, along with Sheila Malik. And in the studios today is a very special guest. Today we have Mazhar Nisar in our studios. And Mazhar Nisar is Pakistan's leading English broadcaster, an award winning primetime English news anchor, program host, analyst and voicecaster whose services in radio and television span over 3 decades. Mazhar Nisar had the honor of receiving many awards, including Tamgha Imtiaz.
Mazhar has also made his mark as an English language poet when his maiden volume of English language verse, The Mahogany Junction, was published in 2017. He pursues broadcasting and poetry as a passion. A very warm welcome, sir, to our show.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor, and I'm so happy to see young people like yourselves, and of course in a very vibrant kind of environment. In a channel that looks really great, I mean, this is a beautiful studios that you have here.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I'm sure the audience would definitely be enjoying the broadcast going out from this channel.
So it's a great delight to have you on the show.
So it's lovely. In fact, I was telling Rafe before we went on air that it's like homecoming for me. For a very long time, in the adjacent studio number 12, I have been doing English programs. So, I mean, for me, it's a lot of nostalgia also.
And you started your broadcasting career from Radio Pakistan, the very Studio 12.
Yes, Studio number 12 is where I started my broadcast, where I went on air for the very first time.
And right now we're just 2 doors down in Studio 15, so it really is
it's absolutely a homecoming, a great feeling, very nostalgic, being there.
So, Mazhar, tell us, what was your motivation behind joining this field of broadcasting?
Yes, well, actually, I think it's just the will to express. So if you want to express yourself, if you want to say something, I think radio is your first choice. Radio is where it's like a cradle, where you learn the ropes of broadcasting and of expressing yourself. And I think it has been a great honor to be associated with Radio Pakistan, the state broadcaster.
Yeah, it's been almost 3 decades that you have been associated with this field.
With the broadcasting.
With broadcasting itself.
So you just mentioned that radio is a cradle. So what role has it played, and it is playing in nurturing new talent and supporting them?
Yes, I think as I said, it's a cradle. It's actually a nursery. It's a training institution, and you see the kind of environment that it provides you, the kind of training that it gives you to develop a broadcasting voice, to be able to express yourself, reaching out to audiences at home and abroad. And of course, diverse kind of audiences. So basically, the kind of training that it gives you is something that remains with you throughout your life. A lot of stalwarts that you see today in the world of broadcasting, people who have made their mark on television and on other mediums in Pakistan and across the world. You would discover that they began from Radio Pakistan. Radio Pakistan was their first institution. So therefore, I mean, in those terms, this institution is playing a very important role. It is providing a great platform for those who are broadcasting enthusiasts to come and learn to express themselves and to reach out to diverse audiences in Pakistan and across the world.
And also Sheila and I are also new to this field, and you just saw when we were not on air how radio is nurturing us, and how even our channel head and everyone here, each and every person as an individual, and Radio Pakistan as an institution, they are very much supporting, and they try and bring out our best. They bring our best out and to everyone. So, Mazhar Saab, could you also tell us what kind of programs have you been doing in Radio Pakistan?
Yeah, well, you see, I've done almost everything on radio, from news, from the CNO, the Central News Organization. I have been reading news for a very long time. And then, of course, I have done, the then largest English show, Islamabad Calling. I did it for every day for 13 years. And so that was, a very important journey for me to learn how to communicate to different kind of audiences with diverse cultures, and of course, in terms of content, to do programs on varied subjects. So, in fact, I'm talking about the 90s. In fact, in those days, the concept of morning shows was not there on television also. And you see, this particular the show that we did was kind of a magazine program, which had a bit of everything in it. And of course, that really then enabled us to reach out to larger audiences, and of course, communicate our message, to entertain people, to inform them and educate them.
Mr. Mazhar, you have been in this field for a very long time. So please share some special or unforgettable event that
occurred in radio.
Yeah, well, you see, I mean, there are so many things that happen. The risks of being on, live on air, of course, are always there. And when you're a live broadcaster, you do cater to those untoward events or happenings. And I do recall a couple of times, we were on air, and there were times that though that red light outside the studios was at times out of order, and you would have the tea boy run in, and in the middle of a broadcast say, chai
pee le.
Yeah,
The tea is ready.
yeah. So you see, I mean, so as a live broadcaster, you have to handle that situation. And then of course
the uncertainties.
and involve the audience into it, and tell them that the tea boy is here, and so why don't you join us and enjoy your tea? It's already.
So you have to improvise.
Yeah,
improvise.
So you have to be trained enough to do it, and I mean, on television this has happened to us many times, and obviously not the tea boy event, but then a lot of other things that you have to be mentally prepared for. So you have to operate like a fighter pilot, if you are a live broadcaster, because you have to be 200% alert, and you have to have a very strong sensibility, and you have to have a nose for, what untoward incident could happen, and how you could actually then, basically, you see, recovering from an event is most important. As a broadcaster, we were always trained that events can happen, any untoward event can happen, anything can go wrong. But
at any time,
absolutely. So, but it's your ability to bounce back,
and recover.
And recover is something that makes you, a better broadcaster than the others. So, I think this is something that we work on.
And that's how you grow over time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because you see, the problem is, a lot of times, something happens, or that there's a blooper, or you fumble, or you make a mistake, something happens, and then it starts adding to your nervousness, and it takes its toll on you, when you're live on air. So that's the last thing that you can allow to happen to yourself. So you have to immediately, instantly bounce back. That's the most, and also in life,
And also, yes, in life as well, you have to recover from any situation.
Absolutely.
And if you can't, you can never give up. Because in life or in broadcasting.
That's right.
So, Mr. Mazhar, you've seen radio transition, because your career has spanned over 3 decades. So you've seen the transitions. So could you tell us how radio has evolved?
Yeah, I mean, you see, there was a time that there were shortwave and medium wave broadcasts only. And of course, so when as broadcaster you were, on air, you knew that you were, communicating to a diverse audience, across the world, and therefore you had to tailor your messages accordingly. You have to bear in mind that you are reaching out to all shades of opinions, different age groups, and of course also in areas where they might not even have the context of what is being said. This long distance communication, the main challenge with it is that at times, the message is going out, but then that context is not there. So you have to be mindful of it, and obviously then ensure that in whatever is said, in whatever is communicated, you always try and put the context there, without assuming that somebody would already know about the situation.
So that people can relate to it.
Yeah, because absolutely, because an event has taken place here and you're broadcasting, say, somewhere in the Middle East, and they obviously will not even have the context. So it's very important to keep it simple, try and contextualize everything that is said, so that you can communicate your messages, which is actually then quite different when it comes to FM broadcast, because FM broadcast is obviously not a long distance communication.
It's more localized.
Confined, localized within a particular area. And then you see a lot of things that you say, people can relate to it. There is a particular context. There is proximity, which is very important,
Exactly.
I mean, if an event has taken place, say in F9 or F8 or F7, if you're talking about it here, people can relate to it instantly. People are directly impacted by the events that are taking place, and the information that you're providing is, of course, directly related to, the audience that you're reaching out to. So radio has evolved in a great manner, and we have been lucky to be a part of that transition, and of course lived through these very interesting times, where this important, very powerful medium has evolved immensely.
Mazhar, as you know that we are celebrating a World Radio Day under the umbrella of UNESCO. So how do you relate the radio to the peace building concept?
And also society building.
Yeah, you see, just to give the listeners a little bit of perspective, the 13th of February, of course, is declared as the World Radio Day, and of course, it is observed every year. And this, of course, is to mark the establishment of the United Nations Radio in 1946. And the day was declared by UNESCO, which is an organization of the United Nations, in 2011. So of course, since then it is being observed across the world. And this particular day is extremely important in raising awareness about the power of radio and how it can be a change maker in society. And I must really say that this year's theme, which is of course in terms of building peace, is of course very appropriate when you look at the global scenario, the conflicts that are taking place across the world, how there is that need to talk about peace, to build peace, to reach out to people with a message of peace, to connect people, to resolve differences, and of course to collaborate as humanity. This is one planet that we have. We are all humans. We should actually be mindful of the fact that our divisions, our frictions and conflicts can really harm the entire planet. And so this is planet 87.6, and sitting in this planet we should think globally, think about the environment. I mean, COVID-19 has proved that any harm that is caused to one individual in any part of the world can actually eventually affect anybody in another part of the world.
Exactly.
So if one person is not safe, no one is safe. So how
Exactly.
the world and the humanity is interconnected. That is, of course, COVID-19 has been a great eye opener for every one of us. That we should not assume that if we are safe and the others are not, we can really carry this on like this. It has to change. We have to raise awareness, and I think today being the World Radio Day, radio can play a great role in inculcating humanity, in inculcating amity, and bringing the people of different cultures and belief systems and areas, geographical areas together to form one global community.
Exactly. And since we talked about, you talked about damaging, our planet and of course each other as well. We are bringing irreversible damage. And we were just talking about recovering from any situation. We are bringing such damage that we will not be able to recover from that.
That's
and we
right.
need to come together as human beings, as as humanity, we need to work for everyone. We need to work for each other and bring everyone closer together.
That's right, Rafi. And as I said, anything that of course will adversely affect one person in this planet will eventually affect the other wherever they are. So everyone is interconnected. There will be a domino effect, and eventually it will get to those who presume that they are living in a bubble and they are safe and they have insulated themselves from all kind of adversities. They will eventually also be impacted.
So it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when.
When, absolutely. So we have to act now.
We have to act now.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's a matter of time.
That's right. That's right.
So, Mazhar Sahab, could you give us, a message to us and all the newcomers and all those who are trying to, get into the field of broadcasting? Could you give us a message?
Well, yeah, I mean, you see, the thing is, as we said earlier, radio is the nursery. It is a training institution. If you want to learn to express yourself, if you want to learn to be a broadcaster, the radio is the medium of choice. I see a lot of youngsters, they want to be on YouTube or they want to be on television instantly. I think, if it were me, for myself, I would say that it had been a great journey to be part of the radio, to learn the ropes first, to be able to communicate effectively, and then of course move on to other mediums. So I think for young people, radio provides a great opportunity for those who have the talent, if they want to come and learn the broadcasting, the techniques, the skills, and then you see this romance of the mic is actually a lifelong romance. Once you really fall in love with it, you just can never get out of it, and it can't ever get out of you. So you remain. It's been a while that I haven't come to radio, but the instant that I walked into the studios, it really rekindled all those emotions and those feelings and that romance that I have had with the mic and with the studio. So I think youngsters should really join radio. They should, those who are interested should come and learn the skills here, and really, this should be your first platform to learn to communicate yourself effectively.
Exactly. Mr. Mazhar, you are also a published English poet. So you have the Mahogany Junction and the Frozen Lake, two books that are published of English verse. Would you share, one of your favorites with us?
Thank you so much. Well, you see, since being a broadcaster and since reaching out to the people, and their homes with the news and current affairs and all kinds of information, one thought that it is now time to get into their hearts. And therefore, you see, back in, I have been writing poetry for quite some time, but then in 2017, I decided to get it published. So the first volume came out in 2017, and
The Mahogany Junction.
The Mahogany Junction. So it was very well received, and that really then encouraged me to continue to try my hands at this craft, which was obviously new to me. But then, if you're a broadcaster and if you can communicate, and if you had the desire to communicate, I think this is just another medium
Exactly.
to do so, poetry itself. So the recent volume came out in just January last month, this year. It's called The Frozen Lake, and this is the volume. It's
if you could
it's
show it
published
to
by Sangi Neil.
this way.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. Yeah.
There it is, the Frozen Lake.
Yes. So I'll just read out one of the poems. This is a poem about the creative process. How does a man, get down to writing a poem? This is what the poem is about. That's the theme of this poem. It's called Provenance of a Poem. A great poem can happen in the midst of an ordinary day, on the way to work, in a crowded shopping mall, while crossing the road. A thought fairy at work, sprinkling, cross-pollinating half a stanza from beyond, interrupting, following us through the day in hot pursuit, catching up, latching on, clinging like a creeper, budding gently, making us tend to it till there are blossoms. chosen as surrogates, we bear pangs of birth. A poem writes itself. We are but scribes, doing the divine's bidding.
Wow.
Doing the divine
Doing the
bidding.
divine
That was so
bidding.
beautiful.
Yes. So the concept is that we don't write it; it writes.
It writes itself.
It is just, it is, it is our destiny that a poem has chosen us.
To come through us, to
Yes,
to be
absolutely.
received
Yes, so
through
that
us.
is- so that is the theme
That
of
was
this.
beautiful. That was beautiful. So, Mazhar Sir, it was a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for honoring us with your time
And
and of
sparing your
course,
valuable time for us.
exactly.
I'm honored, and it's a great pleasure to be with Rafi and yourself. And
Thank you.
mashallah, to see great talent in yourselves being part of this great institution. And may you prosper, and may this institution, this great institution that is like a mother to me, prosper.
Thank you so
Oh,
much.
thank you.
Thank you so much. So it's the World Radio Day today. It is the 13th of February, and the World Radio Day, it's all about peace and radio and society building, and how peace, what role can radio play in peace, bringing peace and harmony in the world. Thank you so much, Mazhar Saab, for joining us. And this is your host, Rafi Malik, along with Shela Malik, and we are signing off for right now. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz, listeners.